Hello everyone, this is Saker, aka your Gothic Cat Girl Witch here, and today, you're probably wondering, what am I doing here? Why am I in front of a blue base? Why am I in space? You're probably wondering. So, today we are actually going to be talking about two games I grew up with. Quake III Arena and UnrealTournament. You're probably wondering, why are we talking about both of these games? And it's 2025, you may ask. No idea, other than I wanted to make this video to kind of do a little comparison between both of these. So, that's what we're going to be doing today. Both of them were arena shooters that came out around 1999. I was, well, 2 when they came out, but I remember them fondly. So, any history or reviews or whatever between these games, they're going to be their own videos if I decide to do game reviews. For now, this is just a comparison. Now, disclaimer first. All the footage you see is all on modern hardware. I don't own any hardware for the time, unfortunately, because I don't mind collecting old hardware. I would love to someday. It's just money's tight, and these games still work great on modern systems. So, just disclaimer in case you're wondering. There are mods installed to these games, but I made sure they gameplay themselves are as vanilla as they can possibly be. When we get to the mod side of things, I'll talk more about that and showcase some mods. Okay, gameplay for both these games. So, as stated earlier, these are arena shooters, and both came out in 1999. They were in competition with each other in terms of the gameplay, mod support, all that other shit we'll probably talk about later on down the road. So, gameplay. Quake 3's is, if you've played a Quake game before, such as either Quake 1 or 2, or any of them in the past, actually, then you would 100% be familiar with Quake 3's gameplay. It's pretty simple to learn. It is very hard to master just because, well, let's just say you're going to get your ass kicked. So, but it's still a fun game. I recommend it still. I mean, it's not my personal favorite out of the Quake series, but I would say it's, that might be a topic for another time, if I ever do top 10s or whatever. But gameplay on this one is, so you do, okay. So before I actually talk about the gameplay for Quake 3, how about I talk about the gameplay for both first, see what they both have similar apps. So for both Quake 3 and UnrealTournament, you actually start out with a starting weapon and a melee weapon. And for Deathmatch, I shouldn't really have to explain it, but because I know there's probably people who are like wondering, how was it like back then? Where are loadouts? So, the funny thing is, loadouts didn't exist. You actually had to go scavenge around the map to find a more powerful weapon. That's how arena shooters were like, and that's how they've always been. I prefer that over loadouts any day. That's only because I like to gain the upper advantage and I like the map knowledge. That's my personal opinion on that. Topic for another day. So, now, that's kind of the premise of Deathmatch as a whole, but there's also stuff like Capture the Flag, Team Deathmatch. UnrealTournament's got stuff like Domination, Assault, stuff like that. So we'll get to those when we get to those. Quake 3 just has the standard Deathmatch and CTF, which that's standard. So when it comes to, now that we kind of compared that side of things, here's where things are going to get a bit different. and I will talk about the starting weapons when we get to the weapons section of the video. For now, this is just straight up talking about the gameplay. Quake 3's is faster than Unreal Tournament's. However, Unreal Tournament has its own speed, if you know what you're doing. For Quake 3's, if you know how to bunny hop, rocket jump, grenade jump, all sorts of tricks and tips and tricks, if you know a lot of that thing, then you kind of got the basics down for Quake 3. I mean, it's like I've said, if you've played a Quake game, you're getting what you love. Unreal Tournament is a little bit different, and I say this kindly because it's still one of my favorite game series of all time. It's a somewhat slower pace. I say somewhat because how do I explain this? It's still fast paced. It's still your Twitch shooter type arena shooter. It's still that. Unreal Tournament is kind of more on the balance side of things. You start out with I already mentioned the starting weapons. Excuse me. All the weapons are different. For Unreal Tournament's movement, you can bunny hop all you want, and yes, it will help a lot, but they don't have it to where it's like Quake's. You can't just, you kind of have to have more strategy involved. And that's kind of something I prefer for Unreal over Quake 3. So, that's just my preference. You like what you like. If you prefer Quake 3's, perfectly fine. Now, for Unreal Tournaments, they have something called dodging, where basically you double tap on your movement keys, and your character literally just jumps left and right, or wherever you're aiming at. It is super helpful, and can get you out of some very nasty situations. So, I prefer that over Quake 3's. However, I will say Quake 3's movement is good too. So, that's a positive for both of them. They're both unique in their own ways. You can, yeah, they're both unique in their own ways. Both are fun to play. That's really all that matters in an arena shooter. And if you got a bunch of friends, 100%, make a custom server, download a bunch of mods, have fun, and have some chaos. It is one of the best times you'll ever have. For this section, we're going to be talking about beginner friendliness. Which one's more beginner friendly? So, I mentioned this earlier with Quake 3. Quake 3 is a lot harder to get into because if you don't know what you're doing already, like you don't know about the rocket jumping, the bunny hopping, or if you haven't mastered any of that, you are going to get your ass kicked, especially if you're playing with randos. That's just, unfortunately, Unreal Tournament's got its own issues with that as well, but Quake 3 is a lot harder to master than Unreal Tournament in terms of the movement. At least in my experience. It could be different for yours, and that's okay. We're all different. So, me personally, I feel like So, for Unreal Tournament, and how it's more beginner friendly, in my opinion. Now, think of it like this. Imagine going into an online game. On either game, you're already getting your ass whipped. So, for Unreal Tournament, you kind of have an easier time because it's a little bit slower than Quake 3. Quake 3, like I've said earlier, is much more faster, is hard to master. If you prefer it, like I've said before, if you prefer that, no worries. Unreal Tournament, on the other hand, it is a bit slower paced in terms of the movement. It's still chaotic because it's an arena shooter, but there's also a lot more depth into what you can do. And when we get to the weapons, I'll talk more about that side of things. So, but as far as my honest opinion, Unreal Tournament is more on the beginner friendly side. So, yeah, that's kind of really all I have for that topic, because it's kind of hard to really talk about that and trying to go into specifics without getting into the other topics I have here, so that's fine. Now, funny enough, okay, first things first, why did you zoom out, Script? Okay, so, funny enough, they both have single player campaigns. Yes, multiplayer only games, they do technically have a single player. But here's the thing, it's not actually a full-on single player. It is literally bot matches, just in like a big lineup. So, Quake 3's, I'll be honest, was kind of just slapped in. It's just like, oh, we have somewhat of a story, but it's in the manual. Which, okay, I get that. But, it's, Quake 3's is kind of hard to really tell because it's like, it literally can take you maybe upwards of 2 hours just to even beat it. I literally did an entire video, and unfortunately, yes, I got rid of it because it's literally just me playing through the entire campaign on my own. I might re-upload it on a new channel somewhere. Topic for another day. But the campaign for Quake 3, it's too short, and I feel like there's just not really enough variety in it. And the issue I have with Quake 3's campaign specifically, and this is kind of why Team Arena exists, it's not variety. It's just, that's not even a word, is it? It's just, there's not really a variety of things to do. It's all just straight up deathmatch, which if you're into that, that's fine. But it's just, I would like to sometimes it be random matches of CTF or others, because there's other game types still. For Team Arena, they kind of did fix it, but they made it more of an arcade style where you can just pick any map, what team you're going against, what team you're picking. There's 4 new game types. Well, I say 4, but there's really 3 new game types. There's regular CTF, there's one flag CTF, Kamikaze, I think is what it's called, and Harvester. No, Kamikaze is a power-up, excuse me. Over something, I can't remember the name of it at the top of my head, I apologize. It's the one where you go to another person's base and have to destroy their little skeleton thing. I'll probably, in the Team Arena video, whenever I do that one, I'll probably show that one more, but basically it's those types of game types, which on paper are actually kind of fun. I've played them. But yeah, that's it for the Quake 3 side of things. UnrealTournament, on the other hand, they didn't need an expansion pack just to make the campaign at least unique. For the campaign itself, you do start out with a deathmatch, which makes sense. But you also have the other game types you get to mess around with as well, such as domination, capture the flag, assault. My personal favorite, by the way, is assault. And then after that, you do go to like a final ladder, and I had to defeat. I'm not going to spoil what you have to defeat, but if you've played the game years ago and know it is, yeah, you know it. I will say this, fuck him, because he is a damn cheater, but it's whatever. It's a game from '99, so I expect that. So that is actually it for the campaigns. That's, yeah. Mod support talk. So this is where things are going to get interesting, and this is coming from someone who's actually have made mods in the past. Never released any, but this was, I was in middle and high school when I did this, but Quake 3 modding tools, at least to my knowledge back then, I don't know nowadays, was a excuse me. Quake 3 modding tools were a lot harder to get into than UnrealTournaments. Quake 3's, you had to actually go download something. Unreal Tournaments, if you own the game, I think the digital versions, if you own the game on Steam or GOG before Epic pulled those, I think always came with the editor as well. I own the game. I use the disc copy myself personally. That's just what I prefer. I think mine came with the editor. I've messed with it. It's fun. I prefer using 2004s, but So I don't like it when my eyes winky. Okay. So Unreal Tournaments. It's a lot easier to get in the modding side of things, and they purposely made it to where it's that easy, so that way, because back then, Epic was always very supportive of the mod community, so there were always a ton of mods, and the game was always mod-friendly. I think I downloaded too many mods over the years, and I've probably, back when my dad and I would, well, I say my dad and I, but back when my dad and his friend would play a lot, he had like a bunch of discs that were just nothing but mods that him and his friend downloaded, which I still have some of those discs and archived them for myself and anyone who wants them. They're old mods, so some of those mods are probably not even easily to find, but I'd say in terms of like the modding side of things, both are great, have great mods. For Unreal Tournament, I'm trying to think. There's a bunch of mods I could recommend for that one. Personally, I've been a big fan of the Chaos UT mod. Started out as a Quake II mod, fun fact, but that's just, I like going around messing with the proxies and other things. It's a fun little mod. It's mostly kind of a weapons mod that causes more chaos, but it's also got some fun maps with it too. For Quake 3, there is a mod. I think it's still in development. It's been in development for a long time now, but if you're a big fan of id Software as a whole, go check out Generations Arena. I highly recommend it. I will put a link in the description where you can check it out. I don't know if it's still being developed or not. I haven't heard anything since last year, so I don't think it's dead, but anything can be possible. So yes. Now mod support's done. So next thing we're going to talk about, and I kind of talked briefly about it, are game types. So we're going to start out with Quake 3 Arenas first, because that's going to be the easiest. Quake 3 Arena has Deathmatch, Team Deathmatch, Tournament, and Capture the Flag. Typically standard. Deathmatch is your typical everyone's against each other. Whoever has the most frags wins. That's Deathmatch for you. Team Deathmatch, same thing, just with two color teams, red versus blue. You know, the classic. For Tournament is literally just 1v1 style gameplay, or not gameplay, 1v1 style of tournament kind of thing, which I love watching, by the way. They're fun to watch. I haven't participated in any myself because, I mean, if you know my age now, it's far gone to even do a Quake 3 1v1 unless it's with friends. So it's fun. That's Quake 3 Arenas. I already touched base with Team Arenas, so I'm not really going to get into that anymore. Unreal Tournament 99. Or just Unreal Tournament, excuse me. That one's got Deathmatch, Team Deathmatch, Capture the Flag, Domination, Assault, and I think that's it. Oh, Last Man Standing. And I am trying to remember what else. I will probably have to get back to you on that, maybe. But those, I'm kind of more thinking 2004 scheme types because I know 2004 is more, but that's kind of just the gist. I already went over Deathmatch and Team Deathmatch in the Quake 3 area, so it's the same premise, just with Unreal Tournament's gameplay. Domination. Have you ever played Battlefield or Star Wars Battlefront? If you answered yes, it's similar. Domination is you have to basically, I say it's similar, but really it's not. Here's how domination works, and this is kind of where I may go off the rails a bit, and kind of why I don't like the game type. I actually don't like double domination more, but we'll get to that if in a future video, if I ever do a video on my personal favorite UnrealTournament game. So I'm not going to spoil what that is. So if you know, you know. My personal issue with domination is the games can get pretty stagnated pretty quick if because the bots, or if you're playing with people. Well, if you're playing with people, it'll be a lot more fun because you're playing with people. The bots are kind of dumb, but also it gets kind of stagnated because it's like, oh sweet, I just got all the command posts, and then boom, all on the opposite team just standing there waiting, grabbing one of your posts, and then you have to kind of catch up. And the worst thing about it, in my personal opinion, and it's kind of why I don't like domination as a whole, it's all score based. It's like whoever has the most points or reaches the end point limit. For example, 100 points. That's actually pretty low for domination. If you get to 100 points, you win, obviously. But if for some reason you're having trouble catching up, and the bots are kind of just cheating a little bit, it's a different story. I don't want to get into a whole rant on domination, so that's maybe a topic for another video if I decide to go that route. But domination's the only game type I really don't care and don't like. Oh, and the points depend on how many control points you have. If you have all three of them, the points are going to go up faster. If you only have one, they're not going to go up as fast. If you have none, you're not getting any points until you get a capture point. So that's how that goes. Capture the flag is actually pretty straightforward. I didn't get to explain this in the Quake III area because it's like it's literally, and this where we're at right now is a big example. There's two flags. There's red base and blue base. Red has to go to blue base to get their flag, and then yeah, basically gotta capture each of those flags. So Quake 3's does it kind of more standard. There's like no special weapon or anything. UnrealTournaments does it where you have a translocator, and this is one thing I like about it is you can go teleport around with a translocator. For example, I could just use a translocator and just go down there, and then next thing you know, I'm down there. It's perfect, but I'm also kind of glad they did this too, and I think it was smart of them to do this. If you have the enemy flag and you use your translocator, dropped the flag, basically. You drop the enemy flag, and the enemy flag can literally catch up. That is actually genius, because that makes things more balanced. I thought that was a good idea, even at the time too. But capture the flag, literally go to enemy base and return with your, as long as your flag is still in the base. Assault, my personal favorite, actually is objective based, and this is why I like it a lot. Back then, objective based multiplayer was like barely a thing, so it's kind of hard to explain that. But back then, UnrealTournament was like, I think, one of the first few games that did it, and they did it so well to the point where there's people can literally mod the game and come up with their own unique scenarios, and you have to go complete objectives to win. But here's the thing, here's like kind of how UnrealTournament does it, and I think 2004 does it a lot better, in my opinion. But basically, one team is attackers and the other team are defenders. Attackers literally have to do the objectives. Defenders are supposed to defend the objectives from the attackers. There is a time limit. If the time limit runs out before the attackers complete all their objectives, the defenders win, and vice versa. Now, a little bit of a twist there that they did is if the attackers did complete their objectives, there's going to be a second round where they have to defend the base. If they defend the base, they win. If the attackers win, then whoever has the most points between both wins. So I guess I say I guess I haven't had an issue where it's like the enemy team has won and I lost. So it's just, I don't know. But Assault, always a good game mode. Now, here in a bit, I am going to showcase all the weapons from both games. I don't know if I should do an explanation on the weapons or not, because personally I feel like that would be more for their own videos. But actually, instead of using the showcase for it on this video, there's going to be another video showcasing weapons for both games. So be on the lookout for that when that comes out. That will be on the new gameplay channel. That won't be on this channel. So that'll be where the showcase is at. My honest, now that we kind of went down to how both games are and such, this is where we're going to get to where it's more my honest full-on opinion on both of these. Highly recommend both of them, personally. They're fun games to get, like I've said earlier. And I think you're going to have a good time with either one, or just get both. So my personal opinion on which one I prefer more, and if it's not obvious already, it's UnrealTournament, hands down. I like its gameplay a lot better. Its map choices are a lot better. Don't give me that campgrounds bullshit. I love campgrounds, don't get me wrong, but there are some maps on Quake 3 that are just completely lazy. And I will 100% confirm it is the last map in the in the single player where you fight Zero. That map was made literally in under, I think, an hour. I'll have to remember the interview. But that map was made in like under not much time. That was a rushed map, and there's a reason why that map gets made fun of. The death trap on it is smart though, but for my personal opinion, like I said, UnrealTournament, hands down. I like the map designs a lot better. I like the themes of a lot of maps. It's all more chaotic with the theming, because it's like they kind of have more of a freedom to do anything. Quake 3's environment. So my final thoughts are, get both games if you like them. They're both great. I personally like both of them. UnrealTournament's obviously more my favorite. It's more what I'm into. I didn't want to get into like the stuff like the soundtracks or anything, because let's be real here. They both got banger soundtracks. Sonic Mayhem did pretty well, and Frontline Assembly did well with Quake 3's. Alexander Brandon and I forgot the other guy's name. They did great with the UnrealTournament soundtracks. So great music regardless. Down below I will post links as to where you can get each game. Fair disclaimer, UnrealTournament is actually free, so if you don't want to dig up your old copy from 99 or whatever, you can get it for free. No questions asked. I was surprised Epic did this, but I'm not complaining. Anyways, that is it, everyone. I am your Gothic Hacker Witch, and I am signing out. Have a good one, everyone, and be safe. And if you're going to go in the arena, make sure you do it safe, or else you're probably going to be dead. Alright. Bye, everyone.